A dark cloud hanging over the organization as they have lost 19 in a row at home and are still winless on the season. The Ticats, on the other hand, getting their first win of the season against Ottawa last week as one of their new faces continues to settle in.
Two big names on the marquee tonight, and they're both in the receiving corps. First of all, back in 2018, Duke Williams for the Edmonton Elks had almost 1,600 yards receiving, making an impact on his new team. That's the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And former Hamilton Tiger Cat Stephen Dunbar, former 1,000-yard receiver Stephen Dunbar, is contributing big time with Gino Lewis out of the lineup for the Elks.
For the Elks, we know about the losing streak. We know they're winless on the season. They've also lost 9 games in a row going back to last season as Edmonton. So a bunch of streaks that they tried to snap tonight. Orlando Steinauer 0-2 on the road this season and 2-7 on the road last season. So they would certainly like to get things going outside of Hamilton. Thank you very much for joining us to kick off another week. We are underway at Commonwealth in Edmonton, and there's another one of those short kicks taking cleanly. No bounces in Edmonton, trying to hop on it, and they've got it. How's that for a start for the Elks?
That's a big bounce right to Jordan Reeves, who just signed a couple of weeks ago playing on the teams. That's why you try the pooch kick in the opening kickoff. You're kicking it to someone who's not really prepared to handle the football. It's a receiver out there for the Ticats, but doesn't handle it. Bounces right to Reeves, and turnover right out of the gate for Edmonton.
That was Turnowski, Tyler Turnowski, who had a pretty clean look at it, but ended up not being able to haul it in. And now Edmonton will start this game on the Hamilton 39. Just one first quarter touchdown for this team this season. They will hand it off, and pushing it ahead is Shannon Brooks as we take a look at Taylor Cornelius.
Yeah, 4-20 is Cornelius' record. He's played against Hamilton once, lost that game, and has been very, very close. Best offensive performance of the season for this football team was against Saskatchewan last week. Really played and won a lot of the categories, played well enough to win in that game. We'll get more into how they lost as this one goes on, but they put out a pretty good effort in that Saskatchewan game.
Won the turnover battle, didn't allow a sack, led for most of the game. And part of this Edmonton offense, Taylor Cornelius picks up the first down.
Well, Brett Boyko's going to start at right tackle. He's been in town for a couple of weeks now. You're probably familiar with the name. He has played in the CFL before. Looking for some help on that right side on the outside and tackle. And there's Stephen Dunbar, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat, who Taylor Cornelius is really leaning into, because with Gino Lewis out, he has become their #1 target.
First and 10 from the Hamilton 29 for Edmonton. Looking for some fireworks early. They'll hand it off again. This is Brown pushing right up the middle. So both Brooks and Brown involved in the offense here in the early going.
A couple of early sacks to the season for the veteran on the D-line for Hamilton in Ted Laurent. 2 sacks. He's played in 134 starts. That's 6,700 small car crashes for a defensive tackle. Jameer Thurman leads their team in defensive tackles at 26, and with 3 knockdowns, he's tied for the league lead, and that's Richard Leonard in the secondary.
It's been all on the ground so far for Edmonton. 2nd and 5 now from the Hamilton 24. Cornelius looking for some room, trying to find that first down marker, and he's got it. It was Jameer Thurman in pursuit, but the big fella rumbles for a first down.
I mentioned the performance of the offense. Watch how quick this decision is made by Taylor Cornelius, and the performance of the offense against Saskatchewan was good enough to win. In fact, he ran 11 times for 58 yards. It's a season high for Cornelius, taking off and making the quick decision to run, just like he did there. 7-yarder and a first down.
Opens up the offense and the rest of the run game when they can get him moving, I would think. 3 options out to the right here for Cornelius. 1st and 10 from the Hamilton 17. Cornelius throwing this time, looking for Forbes Montbleau, but he was not able to hang on, and Lawrence Woods right on his back.
Yeah, pretty tight coverage, and that's why when you have that tight of coverage, you're looking at a throw that's low and away, so only your receiver has a chance at it. I don't blame Taylor Cornelius for trying to throw it right down in there low. You saw how close Woods was on that outside shoulder.
So 2nd and 10 now for Edmonton. Early stages of the ball game here at Commonwealth. Cornelius, far side of the field, and not able to get there in time. Maurice French slams his fists in frustration, but Edmonton will have to settle for a field goal attempt on their first drive, which started at the 39.
Well, the positive there for Edmonton on this first drive is they get the turnover, get first possession, even though they deferred on the coin toss, so they'll get the choice and take the ball first in the second half, and they're going to get a field goal attempt out of it. This range should be pretty routine. Get the first points of this game. Team that's struggling, that's important.
24-yard attempt. He was 0 for 2 last week, but Dean Faithful knocks a big one through early here at home against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Edmonton taking advantage of a turnover early. Here tonight, Hamilton with their first possession of the ball game after a turnover on the opening kickoff. Here is Schultz. Gets it to his running back, Butler, who did a good job staying up after the initial contact and actually gets an extra 4 or 5 yards out of that on the completion from Matt Schultz.
Start number 11 for Matt Schultz. He's 5-5, has 5 wins against the East Division, his 5 losses against the West Division. He'd like to break that trend here tonight. 2 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. Early in his career, but an excellent effort against Ottawa in their first win last week.
6 yards to Butler to start this game, and now a direct snap, trying to push it ahead, awfully close to a first down, as a little trickery from the Ticats to get the ball into the hands of Tyreek McAllister.
Yeah, this is a little innovation here from Tommy Condell. Not new to football, but new to this year and new to the Ticat offense, as far as what I've seen, is a little wildcat where Matt Schultz just pretends to be looking and changing a play, and meanwhile it's direct snap right to his running back.
Did not end up working. They're a yard short of picking up a first down here, so they have trotted the punt team out. The Elks don't have anybody back, so Purifoy's going to scramble back, and he does return kicks.
Don't let him move it around.
Steinhauer not taking any chances early, kicking this with just a yard to go.
Purifoy hustling over and watching it fly directly out of bounds. Taylor Cornelius leading an offense that had to settle for 3 points on their first drive of the game, about to get the ball back in Edmonton. Here's how this 19-game home losing streak has looked from a football ops.
Yeah, one of the reasons for it, you would have to, conclude, is the number of names on the list. That there's that much turnover and change. It's
Cornelius to his right, guns it out to about the 40 and held on to by Dylan Mitchell, who's had a slow start to the season.
Yeah, sophomore jinx for Dylan Mitchell. I mean, he had such a great rookie year with 1,200 yards, and then, when you take a look at this season and just what people have expected, expectations are very difficult to live up to sometimes, and sometimes you can set the bar so high that it puts even more pressure on you. But if they can get him going, that'll really help their cause.
12 yards there to jumpstart him tonight. Now Cornelius hands it off. Brown kind of hesitated, seeing what was going to open up, and still got a few yards on that first down lunge into a pile of men in front of him. And he looks like he's banged up, in pain now, trying to bounce back up.
Yeah, he's going to have to come off anyway. Well, he looks like he's trying to shake it off now. He's waving it off, but they're gonna bring him out anyway.
Well, good sign that he was up and waving him off. Quick chat on the sidelines, and they'll bring back in Shannon Brooks, who's averaging 3.8 yards per carry on the season Had a big one in the air last week. 2nd and 7 for Cornelius from his own 42. 3 to the left, 2 to the right. Cornelius with time, looking down the field. Incomplete, was looking for Mitchell again. Working against Kenneth George Jr. And some solid defense from the Ticats.
Yeah, it really was. And that's the rookie in their back end, in their secondary. And when you see how close Kenneth George is. I mean, watch this press coverage. Get that hand out, just get a little feel for where your receiver is. Stick with him when he tries to put the brakes on. Turn and play the football. That is textbook DB play right there from the rookie.
Julian stands on his own 30, ready to boot this away. Deep kick all the way back to the 11-yard line. And push back out just shy of the 30. Special guest in the house tonight. There he is. You recognize him as the legend, Ricky Ray. When it comes to a Hall of Famer, the numbers usually speak for themselves, and that is a heck of a list of numbers. Ricky Ray is here with our Ryan Rashad.
Yeah, 4 Grey Cups as a starter, 2 here in Edmonton, 2 with Toronto. Ricky, when you come back, you're back in the green and gold here. How does it feel, and what's the reception like from Eskimo Nation, or Elk Nation?
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, every time I come back, I mean, the fans are so passionate about football, and they treated me really well here. I mean, it was a privilege to play here 9 seasons, and you know, just thankful for everything they gave me.
So organizations have ups and downs. This organization is no different, and they're in the middle of it right now. From a distance looking in, what have you seen? What do you think about the way the team and the market is trying to handle this scenario?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen everything throughout my career. You know, good teams, bad teams, slow starts, fast starts. I mean, you've been through it all, and yeah, you just gotta you know, weather the storm and keep the belief going and support everybody, and things will get turned around.
I imagine galvanizing that locker room is critical too. You just have to come together as a group and push through. You know about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge every year with every team, is being able to come together and you know, work towards one goal. And you know, once you get the momentum going, it's hard to stop. So all it takes is that first win.
Well, that was a great ovation for you from the fans. Thanks for taking some time to join us again.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Rusty.
Thanks, Ryan. One of those unique individuals who basically had 2 Hall of Fame careers. Now a deep shot. Just missed the intended target. It was Tim White, who's been known to stretch a field, but he can't hang on to that pass from Schultz.
Well, one of the guys that had maybe the best accuracy on the deep ball of all time was Ricky Ray, and especially when it came to the corner route. This is Schultz just missing Tim White on this one, but man, the numbers, when I see Ricky Ray and you think of the championships in 03, 05, 2012, that was the 100th Grey Cup. He's the starting quarterback in Toronto, 2017. Just an incredible career. For one of the few quarterbacks, Dusty, that right out of the gate when he got his opportunity, made it happen on the field. It usually takes 2 or 3 years for guys to figure it out. We're seeing that with Cornelius. We see it with young quarterbacks. Matt Schultz as well. Takes him some time. Ricky Ray took over for Jason Moss in 02, and in his first start, threw 5 touchdowns.
And then I like the saying, I'll take it from here, the rest is history.
Yeah, well, just, you know, you think of the flashbacks, and I love when we show him in action. Of course, we show 2 teardrops right on the corner route for touchdowns and for big plays, because he could throw it better than anybody in the business. But the leader in yardage passing on 2 franchise.
Cornelius pitches this out to Brown, who's back in the game. Good news for Edmonton. Breaks 1 tackle. Second man will get him, and that's Carney, who ends up finishing the job.
Well, just great to see him back. You know, like he got hurt on that last series. Looked like the training staff may have to come out and get him, but he walked that off, and he looked good on that burst on the outside there. Good gain on first down for Kevin Brown, who had his best game last week against Saskatchewan. Best game of the year, I should say.
And like Dylan Mitchell, Kevin Brown was sensational in the second half of last season, so big hopes for him. And they also like Shannon Brooks, who got that first touch tonight. 2nd and 2. And it'll be Cornelius who has taken over the short yardage duties after Kai Loxley was released. And it looks like Cornelius is going to be close to that. Of course, Loxley end up signing with the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, and he's not been there a whole long time, but boy, just for TV purposes, wouldn't it be cool if Tommy Condell figured out a way to get him involved here against his old team, and the way that went down, and how he got pulled after one play and he separated himself from Chris Jones and the rest of the team, and the day later he was released by the team, ends up in Hamilton, and it's just he hasn't been there very long. That's the problem.
3rd and inches. Cornelius this time pushing through, and that will be an Edmonton first down with just over 4 minutes remaining here in the first quarter of play. Your thoughts on Cornelius handling those duties now, not coming out of the game, like staying in there, being involved the entire time? He's a big body, long body.
Yeah, you know, in general, I always think it should be a second guy or your third-team quarterback.
Yeah.
Because it just takes a couple of hits away from your starter. However, with a team struggling the way Edmonton has struggled, he wants to take the reins. I think it's a sign of leadership to say, hey, just leave me in here. I'll get the first downs. We'll keep these drives going. I'm going to lead my team by example, and I like that.
Well, he got that one, so it's 1st and 10 right at midfield here. Smack dab in the middle. Hands it off to Brown. Another push of about 3 or 4 yards before he is brought down. But a couple of plays since he got back into the ball game, and little grimace as he bounces back up here.
Yeah, playing through something clearly after that hit a series ago, but looks like he still has that burst. He's not limping. That's the good news.
3 yards for Brown on that touch. 2nd and 7 now for Cornelius. Still looking to complete his first pass of this ball game. Some pressure from the Ticats. Now Cornelius trying to escape. Flags fly as Cornelius tries to lunge ahead for a first down. He's marked in a spot where it would be a first down, but flags as he tried to escape from the pocket, and that'll be a hold against Edmonton, I would think.
Holding Edmonton number 68. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay 2nd down.
If you're at all just a true fan of the game, that was a holding on Foucault. But if you're just a fan of the game, and I know Taylor Cornelius is, every quarterback that gets to this level is, with Ricky Ray in the house, he wants to get that first win tonight. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but having Ricky Ray around maybe just sparks a little bit. He'll have heard all the stories about the great Ricky Ray.
Cornelius, 4 wins in his career, all 4 of them away from home. 3 to the right, 3 to the left. Trying to set up a little bit of a screen here. Will anything open? Some nice work to have some hope on the play, but Ticats defense holds strong, and Maurice French simply couldn't find any space.
Yeah, hold strong, and right now the field is slanted. So basically after that opening kickoff by Edmonton, they recover it, go in and get 3, but they've been playing in Hamilton's end for this entire first quarter so far. So you almost a return or, you know, a big play. They almost hit Tim White to flop the field.
We'd like to welcome everybody joining us on TSN 5. Thanks for popping in after watching some NBA Summer League hoops. That just kicked away in time. Julian got it away just before it was blocked. Bounces back and rolls out at about the Ticats 17, a 37-yard kick. Schiltz will try to jump start the Ticats offense when we return.
That is on the coaches. He told us, if you're looking for a headline, write that. Really went a long way to try and deflect the criticism. Does not want that to be a mistake that can define a player. No question, it's a big one. But they really went a long way to try and deflect it. Jones saying in the media multiple times, that's on the staff.
Well, and he said multiple times to us, refers to his team as kids. A lot of younger guys, a lot of inexperienced guys in this league on this team. And he said, you know, we got to do a better job coaching these kids up. And I mean, can't disagree with him.
Hey, it happened in the Ottawa game a couple days later. So let's take a look at this. Two young teams playing tonight. One of the reasons that they're slow out of the gate. The veteran in David Beard was a former Edmonton Elk for 7 years. There's Duke Williams, who leads their team in the receiving corps and is 5th ranked going into the week in the Canadian Football League. But yeah, both these teams are young, and they're going to make mistakes. And I've seen that mistake every year from veteran returners too. So I felt for Sims, but the difference was the magnitude, because there was a minute left. It was a tie game. They were going to overtime, and the moment became that big moment where the eyes get big and you just lose your train of thought for a second, and it cost them a football game. But I know that he'll bounce back, and he has been a bright light, man. I mean, honestly, this guy against Toronto had runs of 72, 52, 42. I mean, he can get it done. So, you know, a couple of the longest runs in the league this year. So you don't want to have one mistake define your career, and it won't for CJ Sims.
Third 2 and out of the game for the Ticats. A high kick. Purifoy rushes over, takes it at the 36-yard line. 49-yard kick with a flag in the center of the field as we get set to wrap up the first quarter. I've had it in my notes since I started doing this job to put the wrap on CJ Sims. The last return touchdown for Edmonton 8 years ago. So the fan base, he'll get it. Desperate for a win, desperate for a return of some sort as well, and maybe CJ Sims ends up being that guy. First quarter in the books at Commonwealth. It is the Elks. Welcome back to Commonwealth, everyone. Edmonton leading 3-0, a low-scoring affair, or, as we like to call it, an excellent defensive contest so far between these two clubs.
Well, yeah, I think if you're an Edmonton fan, you like that you have the lead after the first quarter. You like that your run game has looked pretty good. You've seen Cornelius make a couple of nice throws, and you got the lead. That's the good news for Edmonton fans. For Hamilton now, they've been playing in the wrong end of the field, and they need to flip it somehow. So the way you do that is a pick, and then get a big return off it, a block kick possibly, or maybe you get Tyreek McAllister going and you throw him a bubble screen or something like that, and let a potential huge star in this league, because he can fly. Maybe you get him going with the football a little bit.
I think the saying with kids is you let them cook, right? Let McAllister cook a little bit. First and 10 here for Edmonton. They'll work from their own 26. Cornelius has a completion. That is Brooks, is running back, finding some space on the far side of the field. And the first pass completed of the game for Taylor Cornelius goes for 24 yards.
Yeah, Brooks and Brown both in the backfield here, and Brooks is going to exit this way out of the backfield to get out into the open, and it's the quick decision, little play fake in the middle to hold the linebackers, and look at the space that Brooks have outside. I like this two-back set for Edmonton.
Brooks out of the University of Minnesota in his first year in the Canadian Football League. First and 10 out from the Edmonton 49. They go back to him again, and he's able to maneuver his way ahead for 4 more yards.
Kevin Brown and Shannon Brooks, if you have them both in the backfield at the same time like we did on that first throw, you're now your linebackers, Chris Edwards, Simone Lawrence, Jameer Thurman, they're going to stay in the box longer. So now the zones outside become bigger. The windows become bigger for your receiving corps.
Brown watching on here. It's Brooks standing in to the left of 15 in green. 2nd and 6. Cornelius. And that pass well ahead of Dylan Mitchell. Looks to stretch it out a little bit here, as 3rd down now is what Edmonton faces.
Yeah, and you see the difference. Now there's only one back in the backfield, so Simone Lawrence is not quite as occupied as he would be if there were 2. And now look how deep he is, and now he makes it a little more difficult and takes away a zone underneath for Taylor Cornelius in the passing game.
Third straight punt after a game-opening field goal for Edmonton. This one goes for 47 yards and will be brought back by McAllister for about 14 yards. McAllister bursting onto the scene with a big touchdown last week. More on him when we showed his
tremendous speed, and when we see that as football fans in this country, you go, okay, we found another one. Hamilton found one.
There's a completion to Godwin, his first catch of the ball game on the feed from Schultz, and that is Hamilton's first down of tonight's game.
Well, they could certainly, you know, maybe use McAllister in there, but if they can run the offense and get Goodwin and Tim White, we haven't heard from Duke Williams just yet in this game. I'm sure we will before it's over, but need to flop the field.
Oh, busting right through the line. Coney Ely, untouched, takes down Schultz. First sack of the game for the home side.
Boy, this is straight down Main Street for Coney Ely. He just goes where the guards pull. Looked like they were trying to get a little fly sweep action going there to the left side of the formation. Two offensive linemen pulled that way, and Coney Ely had the free path.
Instead, it's a significant loss. Second and long now for Schultz. Near side of the field, Godwin comes back to get it and is taken down. That momentum carries him forward. Awfully close to a Ticats first down. Second straight catch for Godwin.
Yeah, interesting stat by Steve Daniel in the league office. Does such a great job with our game notes every week. And he said that in the over 90 possessions where a sack occurred, there has only been one touchdown scored. It's a touchdown killer. And that first down catch by Goodwin may fly against that trend in this drive. We'll see if they can keep it going.
He needed 16. Godwin got 17. And a first down for Hamilton. Some pressure from Edmonton. Schultz in trouble again, and they'll take him down. Edmonton's defense getting home. Niles Morgan this time.
Delayed for him. Delayed for him on this late rush. He's going to delay just long enough so he's not counted in the protection. Then he sneaks around and gets there. I'm not sure in this stats with over 90 possessions with the sack if we've gone as far as going, what if there's 2 sacks in the possession? How many touchdowns after that? My guess is 0.
First sack of the season for Morgan. He's having a nice year in the middle of that Edmonton defense. Second and 16 again for Schultz. Can he find 17 more over the middle? He does. Right down to the Edmonton 50, just shy. And that is Keandre Smith. And that'll be enough for a first down. Wow, a couple of clutch catches on this drive for the Ticats.
That one for sure. Yeah, Keandre Smith had to go back. He was on the crossing route here, and he's going over the middle, and he has to reach back to get it. That's a tough one, because that's, first of all, that's the danger area. You know you're going to get hit, or you expect to get hit in there. There's a lot of folks in there, but had to go back and pull it in.
17 yards to keep this drive alive. Now Schultz takes it himself, and a nice chunk on first down as they get their quarterback moving.
So this drive continues after 2 sacks by Edmonton, breaking a ton of trends so far this year, and then a nice call by Tommy Condell to go with quarterback draw. That was a call play where Schultz puts his foot in the ground like he's going to pass and then takes off on a quarterback draw for good yardage on first down.
Now they just need 4 more. Second and 4 here for Schultz. Flagged here as he hands it off. And eventually busting through the pile just down inside the Edmonton 40 is James Butler.
Offside, Hamilton, number 17. It's a 5-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
So what about sacks and penalties on a drive that leads to a touchdown?
Yeah, no.
I'm sure Steve's got those numbers somewhere.
They're probably
too.
Somewhere. But,
yeah.
But Goodwin there, he lined up offside, I believe. He didn't, that wasn't a motion issue or a waggle issue. He just lined up. He was about a yard offside there.
So second and 9, needing a pretty good chunk here is Schultz. Right over the middle again, and this time It falls incomplete. Sindani working against Darius Bratton, and Bratton got an arm in there.
Yeah, I've highlighted Bratton and the two halfbacks, basically Dwayne Thompson and Bratton in the starting lineup, simply because they're going to have pressure on them. They're going to have some big-time receivers in Duke Williams, Tim White, and those crossing routes. It's a big play.
This is kicked away. Sims slides under it just inside his own 15. And brings it back after a 35-yard kick, a short return for Sims.
Hamilton got the field position back, though.
First time. Cornelius, worst starting field position of the football game for Edmonton, who still maintain a 3-0 lead midway through the second quarter. Thank you very much for joining us for some Thursday night football action. Cornelius fakes the handoff, and that one in and out of the hands of the intended target, Kyron Moore, who doesn't have a catch yet in this ball game.
No, but he's been looked at a bunch more. He's been targeted in the last 3 games 18 times, and that's again with Geno Lewis out of the lineup. Who's going to be the playmakers? We've talked about Dunbar, Stephen Dunbar, really leading into him, and he's become the leading receiver, but Kyron Moore can really help their cause.
Moore led the Riders in receptions in 2019 and 2021 here in his first year in Edmonton. Cornelius over the middle this time. That's a completion outside the 40 to Dunbar against his former Ticat teammates.
Jameer Thurman showed blitz and then dropped out of there on this one. There's Jameer Thurman here. He shows blitz and then he drops out, but he doesn't drop out deep enough. We've seen sometimes where a linebacker can get in the throwing lane, but Jameer Thurman kind of stopped his drop about 5 yards short, and it allowed Cornelius to find Dunbar right in behind him.
A 21-yard pickup to Dunbar for his first catch of the game. 1st and 10. Edmonton works from their own 41. This time they'll hand it off. Short pickup for Brown as he's wrapped up by Kongbo.
You know, this team that hasn't won yet, the Edmonton Elks, have enough talent to win. I'll take you back to last year, Dane Evans with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. How about this? This is Stephen Dunbar, maybe one of the best, or arguably the best catch all season long. This is the type of talent that this Edmonton Elks team has in their lineup. You just got to put it all together to stop the skid.
I'd ballpark, I probably saw that
I know.
200 times last season.
It gets you jumping out of your seat, doesn't it?
It does. 2nd and 9 for Cornelius. Flips it ahead to Moore. Moore looking for the 51 for a first down. He's got it before he's hammered down on the far side of the field.
It looked like Kyron Moore was coming over here to look for a block. He was trying to help in sort of the blocking scheme, and then when it sort of broke down, quick decision by Cornelius rather than run himself. He's got a fast receiver out there, a little underhand flip to him, and away he goes.
So Edmonton able to move the ball through the air a little bit on this drive, and they've flipped it back onto the Hamilton side of the field. They'll fake the handoff to Brown, and a completion into the hands of Maurice French. And Cornelius getting a number of his weapons involved here in the second quarter.
Well, not only that, but they're moving his launch point. So you're going to see Cornelius, look at this, a little RPO. He rides a dive there for a second on Brown and then gets outside. He's got 3 targets, or he can run. So opening up lots of options for the young quarterback to make decisions on the fly. And I think he's getting more and more comfortable every game with throwing on the run.
Cornelius has completed passes to 5 different receivers so far in this game. 1st and 10 from the Hamilton 43 now, as Edmonton marching for the moment offensively. Cornelius now. Another completion just outside the 30. This one to Dylan Mitchell. So 4 different players on this drive with big pickups for Cornelius.
On the run again, moving the launch point again. And this shows Taylor Cornelius' arm strength. Heard Matt Dunnigan in the pregame show talk about that he still believes in 15. He still thinks he's got all the tools to make it happen and start winning games. And that showed you a little example. Even with a little flutter on the ball, he just zipped it right in there.
Now down to the Hamilton 26. 4 options, wide side left of the field for Cornelius. Mitchell by himself down at the bottom of your screen. Cornelius under pressure, spins away, looks towards the end zone, incomplete. Hit French in the chest, but he'd gone down low and couldn't hang on.
You got to have that. You know, that's Taylor Cornelius doing everything he could to keep the play alive, and strong lower body to break this tackle right here, spin out of it. Again, great accurate throw on the run going to his left. There's no reason. You got to catch that one. You got to catch that one.
Certainly one that French would want back, and now it leaves this drive that's been moving along nicely in a 2nd and 10 situation. French in the slot to the right of Cornelius. Pressure coming. Cornelius in trouble, and he'll be taken down just outside the Edmonton 35. The Ticats defense had seen enough. Ted Laurent getting home.
It's all about counting for protection. It's about how many are they sending and how many do we have to block. They were basically, the Elks basically were able to block everyone that was coming from Hamilton. They had the numbers with Kevin Brown staying in there. Simone Lawrence took up that block, but just a straight bull rush. That's the 3rd sack of the year for Big Ted Laurent. I mentioned his 134 starts. For a defensive tackle, they say every play is like a little car crash. And if you average 50 plays a game and you have 134 starts, you've been in 6,700 car crashes.
And he's still going.
And he's still bull rushing,
yeah,
and knocking old linemen into their own quarterback.
Been with Hamilton for almost a decade now.
But here's what Edmonton did. They drove the ball, got the field position back, and now have a chance to put some more points on the board.
We'll try to tack on some points. Faithful from 24 earlier made it, as I mentioned. Missed both last week. 4 for 6 on the season. This one straight away from 40 yards to double the Edmonton lead. Early movement from the Ticats, I believe, as that is hammered through. More than enough leg for Faithful, but to sort this flag out.
Offside. Hamilton, number 5. The penalties decline. The field goal is good.
Chris Jones takes the 3 points. Edmonton on top, 6-0. Could have been more, but the Ticats D was there. Process of how he became a Ticat. Let's send it down to Ryan Rashad.
It was by design, Dusty. They wanted to add a little spice to the locker room, right? Some personality and pop, but there was a history there, and Orlando Steinauer took that very seriously. Wasn't just a phone call. He needed a FaceTime. Wanted to look the player in the eyes, really get a sense for where his head was at, where his attitude was at. Steinauer made it clear. They've got a framework of discipline, but within that framework, players have the latitude to be themselves and to bring personality, but he definitely wanted to feel that face-to-face meeting to make that big decision.
Here's a deep shot down the field to Duke Williams, and he was not able to haul it in double coverage. Doesn't have a catch yet in this game, but perfect timing for this play.
Yeah, great throw, and really down the seam on a post route. Little outside fake and then right down the middle, and had a chance at it. I mean, I don't think you can throw it better. We've seen Duke come up with that many, many times, and in fact much tougher catches than that one. Hit him right in the hands. Yeah, there was guys around him, but you know, when you're Duke size at 6'3", 225 can run like that, you're not worried about the guys around you.
He's made a living hauling in big ones like that. Here's Schultz, other side, down the field for White, got it, down to the 20, taken down just outside the 15, a flag back by the quarterback, but a big shot from Schultz to White, and he's able to haul it in.
The way Matt Schultz is walking towards White, look like this might be a late hit on the Elks.
Ticats offense has been stalled pretty much the entire football game, but Matt Schultz trying to change that. Tim White, who came into the game with 265 yards receiving on the season, sneaks in behind the Edmonton defense, and Schultz finds him for a deep shot as he takes a shot at the same time. Trying to walk it off is Matt Schultz. Let's see where the pop came from. Had the time to get that ball away. Ooh, double crunch there for him. And White able to haul it in. Ticats in business.
Talk about the streak.
What are we doing at halftime?
Talking about the streak.
Excellent.
No shortage of streak talk. More at halftime. Schultz, first and goal from the Edmonton 8. He'll hand it off. Butler down to the 5, spinning away, staying on its feet to the end zone. Touchdown, Butler! What an effort, and the Ticats are on the board.
That's exactly what it was. A tremendous effort, an individual effort by James Butler, who's caught in the backfield. I mean, the Elks, they load the line of scrimmage to stop the run. And look at him. He's bottled up right there, but he spins out of that, breaks this tackle. Purifoy kind of gets dragged in the last 2 yards before James Butler. This is what we saw with him in BC. And that's why when you look at the stats going into this week, you go, what? How is James Butler so far down the list? This seems weird. We saw a lot of that last year.
Hamilton for the lead for the first time tonight. And Leggio pumps it through. Ticats go on top, 7-6.
Let's take a look at that long play to Tim White. White's going to just go down the field and influence the deep defender right here. That inside receiver is the guy who's going to influence the deep defender. So go ahead and run it. You see White going straight down the field. Now stop it there. This is where there's the influence, and that just takes the attention of that deep defender away from Tim White. And Matt Schultz at the other end is hanging in there and taking a pounding to wait for him to get in behind that coverage. But watch the hit from the bottom of the line. It's Noah Curtis, number 92. This is just roughing the passer. It's not a malicious hit by any stretch. They're just going after it, and he almost kind of pulled up, but he did get high hit. And that added half the distance to the goal line, and then second effort here, third effort here. One of the great backs in the league in James Butler.
Third touchdown of the season for Butler, caps off a 3-play, 70-yard drive that took just 61 seconds. And now the return up the near side from Gavin Cobb, former Manitoba Bison, and he gives Edmonton okayish field position with 2:34 on the clock.
Well, I think it's pretty good. You know, it really is pretty good. And with 2:34 to go, this is where games are won. This is where struggling teams put together a drive and either put a major on the board and completely answer and take away any momentum Hamilton had with that long play, or at least get into field goal range. This is a key moment in this game for a struggling team.
2.5 to work for Cornelius. They'll hand it off to his running back. Line of scrimmage, probably not any further. Davis and Carney merging together to slow down Kevin Brown.
The problem Edmonton has is Hamilton knows that too.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
So on defense, they know the importance of this next 2:27 and counting, because there's plenty of time for field goal range. So Mark Washington, the DC, is looking out there saying, hey, don't give him anything. Don't take your foot off the pedal now after we put 7 on the board and grab some momentum.
Well, and if you get a stop here, you're going to have a lot of time getting the ball back. Cornelius, 2nd and 10 from his own 35. Over the middle to Dunbar. Looked like he was held. No flags on the play. And the one hand that he had available, he could not haul that one in.
Oh, well, Chris Jones want to challenge this. He had the deep in route, and he's working on Richard Leonard, the veteran. Inside route, I don't see anything yet. Well, he does kind of lock that arm. I don't know if Chris Jones will challenge or not. I think he will.
He has. Challenge flag is on the field. And it's Dunbar's right arm as he tried to come up, basically held down by Leonard.
Yeah, on the break, it looked fine. There was a little bit of contact. I don't think you call that at all, but there was the arm bar. Now, we saw it in slow motion. So
Edmonton is challenging the ruling on the last play. They believe pass interference should have been called. The play will be reviewed.
Can't redirect or impede the receiver on his route after 5 yards. And here's a slow look at it. If Dunbar, that was a tough one because it was from the backside.
Here we go.
There's Dunbar here. So that's fine. That you don't call. But let's see here, because if he holds that arm down and Dunbar really cannot reach with both hands, then that would fall under the pass interference category for sure. Well, you know what? Based on the last couple games, I'm not going to say anything's for sure. We'll see what they rule. But that looked like enough, even in slow motion.
Yeah, that right arm never had a chance to come up and get to that ball. So it looks pretty clear cut to us. But what do we know? We're up in the booth. Let's send it down to the field for the official ruling.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field is overturned. There is indeed pass interference. Hamilton number 23. It's going to be first down for Edmonton at the 50-yard line.
Well, you know, and I like the process here, what we just saw, because the guys on the field, again, we'll show you again in real speed. Dunbar can't get his hand up. It's pass interference. But listen, I like that the official on the field looked and said, you know, I'm going to let them decide the outcome. And in review, with the video replay, they saw enough to overturn it, and it was clear and obvious.
First and 10 from the Edmonton 50. Big burst. Right up the middle for Kevin Brown. Brown down to the 30. Looking inside the 20. Almost stayed on his feet. Ball bumps loose. And they take it down into the end zone, but it's blown dead at the 10. Mitchell kind of scooped it up and took it into the end zone for a touchdown, but the whistle and the ball is being marked at the 10. Is some madness here late at Commonwealth, courtesy Kevin Brown.
Put Brett Boyko in here, and they put Brett Boyko in for a reason. He's going to get the block down here, and watch the cut and bounce from Kevin Brown on this big run. Boyko at that right tackle. He drives his guy right into the mesh, and then away goes Brown. Nice jump cut, 50-yarder, and I think he's down by contact. He got hit, and as soon as he goes down, he's down by contact.
No controversy there. Now Cornelius goes back to Brown, and he is smothered immediately for a loss. The Ticats giving him no breathing room on first down.
Well, you think back to Maurice French and that drop down by the goal line. They settled for 3. Could have had a 10-point lead there, didn't. This is another chance to put a major on the board. They're at about just shy of 60% in the red zone coming into this game. Opportunities.
So second and goal from the Hamilton 13. Pressure from the Ticats. Cornelius gets it away. Intercepted off the hands of Dunbar into the hands of Javian Elliott. And a turnover in the red zone as troubled times continue for the Edmonton Elks.
Well, pressure busts pipes. You know, it does. And this is blitz coming here. And it's coming off the edge from Chris Edwards. And it really just rushes him. So Simone Lawrence on the opposite side as well. It rushes Taylor Cornelius, the ball a little bit behind Dunbar. And, man, anytime a receiver tips it up, it's danger time. It can be picked off. That ball bounces around, and Javian Elliott gets his first of the season.
Good job by Elliott to stay focused on that one. Dunbar can't believe it. There's an injured Ticat on the field just outside the 20. So out of the hands of one number 7 and into the hands of the other as Chris Jones stares on in disbelief.
there's been a few disbelief moments for this team this year.
So it's behind him, but he had his hands on it.
Yeah, I mean, they'll share the responsibility.
Yeah, okay.
The point being that you know, in the last series, Maurice French has a catch that he should make on the 1 yard line, and it hits his shoulder pads and drops out. That one, you know, let share the responsibility. Cornelius threw it a bit behind him, but that's a play that Stephen Dunbar can make and didn't.
And yeah,
Tips it up, and Elliott says thank you very much, and a chance for points and the lead and to take some momentum disappears. Struggling teams seem to find a way to do this, and they've got to break out of it. I'm not sure how you get it done, but you got to break out of it.
it's been happening for half a decade almost for this team at home. 1st and 10 on the Hamilton 9. They'll hand it off in a huge hole right up the middle for Butler. Butler out to the 30, stays on his feet. James Butler with a response to Kevin Brown earlier, and he'll take it all the way outside the 46. What a burst from James Butler.
Well, just two big running plays, one for each team. Butler now, he looks like he's in a groove after that touchdown that he scored where he broke a bunch of tackles. Look at that. That's good blocking to the left side of the old line. Away he goes, untouched through the line of scrimmage, a 37-yarder. And now Matt Schultz has a chance for points before the half.
What a turn of events here late in Edmonton. Schultz with less than a minute to go, though. Handed off again. It's Butler again. How much juice does he got left? He'll push ahead for another 2 or 3 yards on 1st down.
I think that was probably called an option play to Matt Schultz to you know, the design of the play is, yes, the first stage is possibly a fake or a give to James Butler, but in this scenario, I bet you Tommy Condell wanted Matt Schultz to pull it, get outside, and maybe try to throw it on the run. Just you got to worry about the clock here.
Ticks down to half a minute. 3 options out to the wide side right here for Schultz. Looks to his left, throws to his left, has a completion, and that will be very close, possibly just shy of a 1st down to Garand Gauthier.
And Gauthier, he's got to get out of bounds here, number one. Again, you want to manage this because you got time to score. You had 50-something seconds when you got the ball after the James Butler run, and now it's down to 23.
And you're in a 3rd and inches situation. Schultz stays in, pushing ahead. Only needed the 54, but there's a flag on the far side of the field as the official runs into the pack.
90% of the time, this is offside defense. But you never know. We'll see what they call.
Looks like they were discussing in their offside defense. Edmonton's pointing them the other way, but Orlando Steinauer trying to get a read at exactly what's going on. A little bit of a longer conversation than just something as simple as offside defense.
So Schultz got the 1st down.
He did.
So they'll have a new set. If they look like they may be taking this one off the board here.
There are 2 penalties on the last play.
Okay.
The defensive line lined up offside. We also have a spear by Edmonton, number 45. We'll go up 20 yards from the previous line of scrimmage. It's going to be 1st down for Hamilton.
Well, that's field goal range automatically.
A spear called against Niles Morgan.
Wow.
On a 3rd and inches, everybody at the line situation.
No, I don't know about that call.
Wow.
I mean, how many times have we seen a linebacker come over the pack?
Here's Butler trying to be set free again, pushing ahead, spinning down, and another excellent second effort from Butler takes them down to just outside the 20, a 14-yarder, but that last penalty seems...
Well, I don't know how you know, I mean, yes, it happened to their contact with their helmets, but that's a short yardage play. Everybody dives over the line of scrimmage. You have really no control once you leave your feet. I mean, I'm sure the command center is saying, well, that you have to have control and not hit the guy with the top of your helmet. He did duck his chin, kind of led with the top and the crown. Maybe that's where.
Sets up a last-second field goal here for Leggio. He's perfect since joining the Ticats. Just inside the left hash, and he sneaks it home. And the Ticats go on top on the final play of the first half. The Ticats on top 10-6. An interesting half of football between these two clubs, Glenn.
Yeah, well, first quarter, the Edmonton Elks had all the field position advantage, a 3-point lead, and then had 2 opportunities in the second quarter to go up more than 14. I mean, they could have gone up to 17 and missed their opportunities.
Ryan Rashog is with Tim White of the Ticats. Having an excellent game as well. Both running backs actually pretty productive in the first half of this game. Thank you very much for joining us for second half action. CJ Sims waiting, looking to bust a big one for Edmonton. We are underway. Hamilton leading 10-6 as we begin the third quarter. This will be taken by Cobb. Cobb trying to stretch it to the far side of the field. He'll get back up over the 35, but eventually chased out of bounds. Here's a look at Taylor Cornelius's highlight pack from the first half.
Yeah, I mean, again, like a lot of his games, you see a lot of good, and then you see 1 or 2 that you go, uh-oh, that's an issue, because he did look good. Made some quick decisions running the ball, threw with comfort on the run, and then a blitz happens. He throws it behind Dunbar, and a chance for points just before the half disappears in front of his eyes.
0 for 2 in the red zone, Edmonton in that first half. They start here with the ball on their own 38. Cornelius quickly finds Dunbar for a first down. Dunbar to midfield. So he goes back to number 7 to start the third quarter, and it works.
Yeah, and this is, and we hear sometimes from fan bases that we cheer for one team or another. Well, that doesn't happen. What we do, though, and what I do for sure, is cheer for players to come back after a mistake. And, it wasn't Dunbar's fault. The ball was well behind him, but good to see that catch early on, and I'd love to see C.J. Sims make a play tonight.
18 yards to Dunbar. Cornelius right over the middle again. Another completion. Some room to rumble this time for Kyron Moore. Stays on his feet. Kyron Moore to the 10-5 touchdown. Edmonton finding the end zone. First touchdown as a member of the Elks for Kyron Moore.
There's something to cheer about for Edmonton fans. How about that? And here's what is remarkable is Taylor Cornelius, it feels like after this throw in a real tight window that he threads the needle to Kyron Moore, that he went in at halftime and said, enough of this, man. I'm going to just go out and throw it. If they intercept it, whatever, but we're going to just get out there and go play ball. And he just, that was a porthole. That was no window. That was a tight one.
And the extra point is knocked through, so Edmonton goes on top 13-10 as they take only a minute and a half in the third quarter to find the end zone for the first time today.
Kyron Moore is just, he's going to take off right here, and we'll just follow him. He just goes around. He's going to run this. Look at how tight this window is. There's defender on one side and Simone Lawrence closing from inside out. He makes that big catch right over the middle. And again, Taylor Cornelius just moving to his left, throwing the opposite direction. And he threads the needle to Moore. Moore makes a man miss. And that can get you out of your call it a streak, but out of your slide.
Out of the slump.
Out of the slump.
Try to get them on track. Just 2 plays, 2 passes from Cornelius, 1 to Dunbar, 1 to Moore, and it's 72 yards and into the end zone. So the Elks have not had many things to cheer about offensively this season, but Kyron Moore now does. Tyreek McAllister awaiting this kick, slides over and takes it just inside the 20. McAllister to the 30. Tyreek McAllister looking for some breathing room, and he's got it. Midfield races on, and he steps out at the 45. But Ticats answer back, courtesy Tyreek McAllister.
Well, if we had a direct line to Tommy Condell, we'll say, you know what? Put this guy on, put him on offense. We saw it last week. He can run now. He can fly. Give him a little crease and away he goes. Great field position after the touchdown.
46-yard return for McAllister and held up just enough by Faithful to slow him down and allow the rest of the Elks to catch up. Now look at this, Butler, a big burst, and both teams very efficient offensively to start the third quarter.
Got Duke coming in to help out with some blocking right here on your screen. You got Duke, and he's gonna help out in the blocking scheme. You got down blocks. You watch him come out. He's gonna go out into the flat, and just a huge hole in the middle for Butler.
Schultz fakes the handoff, rolling out to his right. AC Leonard in his face, and he's forced to throw it out of bounds on first down. That'll bring up 2nd and 10.
AC Leonard had a breakout game last week against Saskatchewan. It was a quiet start for him. I think the expectation, again, very high that he would be sort of the leader off the edge and pass rush. He's one of those tall, lanky guys that Chris Jones absolutely loves out of Tennessee, and 39 career sacks coming into the season. He got 3 against Saskatchewan last week.
Had that big year in 2021 with 11. And yeah, 3 last week. 1 shy of the team record. Tying the team record, I should say. 1 shy of tying it. Now here's Schultz. Far side of the field. And that one with Darius Bratton in coverage against Tim White, and a super late flag. Really late flag. Flies just inside the 15. They were already trash talking each other by the time that one came out.
Edmonton, number 8. The ball will be placed at the spot of the penalty. Automatic first down for Hamilton.
Okay, so they've threw the flag and said it's on McLaurin. It was Bratton who was working against Tim White.
Corner route for White. I thought Bratton was the guy in coverage.
Yeah, but they threw the flag on McLaurin, right? So
it can't be pass interference, though.
All right, so they had the number incorrect. It is on Bratton, who was the only guy who was in the vicinity. Now they'll hand it off to Butler. Butler down to the 5, trying to push through to the end zone. They stop him just short, but he should have another first down. Let's take another look at this penalty.
I think you're going to see a jersey grab by Darius Bratton on this, and it was 24. It wasn't McLaurin. So there's the grab on the shirt.
Oh yeah.
And he hung on to it for some time, and it's a dead giveaway because the shirt comes apart from the shoulder pads.
Now they'll drop it off to Butler again, and this time he could not find a second life. Wrapped up by Morgan and hammered back down. 2nd and goal.
Well, up until last week, the Edmonton Elks had real issues defensively stopping the run. I mean, they were giving up buckets of yards, and we've seen examples of that again tonight, but not that time, not down on the goal line. Konar steps up and really fills the gap, so there's no place to run there, and then they just pursue and get there.
2nd and goal. Now from the Edmonton 4. Butler stands in next to his quarterback. Now flares out to his right. Schultz looks that way. Wants to take it himself, and he does! Touchdown Hamilton! An answer from the Ticats. Matt Schultz finds the end zone. Let's go!
Second time we've seen Tommy Condell call a quarterback draw to Matt Schultz, and it's a well drawn up play because to get James Butler out of the backfield, you pull a linebacker usually with him, and that should open up a lane, or at least take one out of the box, so now you can block him up, get angles, and you get your quarterback in the end zone. Worked exactly the way you draw it up.
Leggio to make it a 4 points Hamilton lead. Lots of fireworks in the early going of the second half. Don't go anywhere tonight. These two teams are just heating up. Matt Schultz picking his way to the end zone for the first time this season.
Well-designed play down in the red zone. Offensive coordinators must love this when they draw it up and it's executed just the way they drew it up.
Just strutting on the sideline, eh? We're up in the booth, just work to perfection. Now here's Cobb to the 30, makes a nice move, takes it outside the 35 as Hamilton kicks it away again from C.J. Sims. Let's take another look at the touchdown.
Here's James Butler right here. Now James Butler is going to take off and leave the backfield. Go ahead and run it, guys, and watch when he gets out of the backfield. Goes in motion. Now stop it there. Konar has to go with him and watch the lane that is going to open up. Go ahead and run it. Konar is going to go with him, and now the lane opens up because no linebacker. They've taken one out of the box. It's basically just a simple math numbers game. Take James Butler, he takes a linebacker with him, and run your quarterback right where that linebacker was.
Here's Cornelius in trouble, trying to get away. He will not. Oh, what is he doing? What is he doing? He throws it away. It's picked up and brought back by Katanzana's touchdown, Hamilton. What is happening? The Ticats strike again. Oh, my goodness.
Jagarrett Davis is such a veteran, a smart veteran. He's right on the edge here. You're just going to see him just out of your screen. And he sees the flat in the back in the flat, or the receiver in the flat, and he just says, you know what, I'm going to just go up and get in his face. Controlled rush, and forces a mistake by Taylor Cornelius.
Legio right down the middle, and Hamilton all of a sudden is up by 11. Well, if you were wondering if Cornelius can throw with his left hand, he can't. Katsatonis takes advantage. Touchdown, Hamilton.
You know, we talked to Taylor Cornelius this week, as we do every week, and I asked him about the pressure of this streak and everyone talking about all the time. He admitted to us, he said, you know, we're close, and we're so close to winning these games, and we're playing well enough at times, and what he fights against is trying to do too much. And in that play, you could see the reaction. He tried to do too much. Take the sack, lick your wounds, punt the ball away.
They kick it to Cobb again, and look at this. Gavin Cobb down the sideline, forced out just outside the Hamilton 50, right at the 50. As another big play puts Edmonton back in business.
Just a little lean there by Cobb on this return. He's going to go up the field, and just a little bit of a lean inside, and then watch the move back out to the sideline and right down the rail. A little move inside, and then wow. Outside of containment, away he goes.
40-yard return for Gavin Cobb, and Cornelius back in here. They're sticking with him. Starts at the ball at the 50, hands it off. One nice move from Shannon Brooks, and a decent pickup on first down.
I just wonder about the mindset of Taylor Cornelius right now. I mean, all that's going on, the pressure of this skid that they're on, and he's got to now flush that. Bad plays, the certainty in football is that you're going to face bad plays. You're going to face adversity in a game. That's just going to happen. It's going to happen every game. It's what you do the next play, the next series. Let's see.
2nd and 6. Some pressure from the Ticats. Cornelius over the middle to Dunbar, and he's, ooh, did that get knocked away? Looked like he had it in his hands, and the ball is out and incomplete. Javian Elliott in his hip pocket.
Here he is. He's the inside receiver, and on this dig, it's been a good matchup to watch tonight. It's seen a couple with Leonard. Leonard got that PI call, but that's just Javian Elliott with a nice strip. OC Stephen McAdoo was hoping his quarterback would gain a little bit of confidence after the mistake with a catch there.
Dunbar had that one and kind of began to tuck it in, and it popped out. Julian High kick taken at the 10 by McAllister. Nowhere to go that time. Matt Schultz and the Ticats with a lead on the road will have come out for the game tonight, right, Glenn? Gord Miller, the commish?
Yeah, Gord and I, the very first year, 27 years ago, we were in the booth together. In fact, I did my audition for with TSN with Gord Miller, and of course and if I know Gord in that discussion with our commissioner, he's going to make a rule change before the night's out.
They'll hand it off to Butler, and he stopped just shy of the 15. And Purifoy getting into it with some members of the Ticats offense. Now, the last thing Edmonton needs to take any undisciplined penalties here. Ticats are one of the most, well, they average over 10 penalties per game, which is the worst number in the entire league. 24-13. Schultz and Hamilton on top, trying to make it 2 wins in a row. Long way to go in this one, midway through the third quarter. 3 options to the left, 3 to the right for Schultz. He decides to go over the middle, and he's got him. McAllister comes up big, takes it all the way out to the 50, and they work him into the offense, and it pays off big time.
This is interesting in a way to get McAllister involved. There he is right there, and what happens is Purifoy is going to walk out the Sam linebacker strong side. That's what Sam means, and he walks out and he's trying to drop to the zone, but because of the speed of McAllister, he just flies right through that window. A nice 35-yarder.
All the way up to the Hamilton 49, 35 for number 35. Schultz now out to his running back over the head of Butler. Chris Jones caught it, and he's furious.
Tyreek McAllister out of Charleston. 64-yarder in the win against Ottawa. And yes, CFL has found another potential superstar. You take a look at the rushing yards. We're really a tailback.
Yeah.
And he can play a lot of different spots. Also can return kicks. But that's with 355 carries and 25-61 in yards. That's an over 7-yard average.
Giving me a Greg McCray vibe in Winnipeg, you know? Use them in the returns, in the slot, running back a little bit. Schultz near side, and that one is incomplete and out of bounds, and a flag thrown against Noah Curtis. And Curtis is not happy.
Well, let's just set the table here, because Edmonton's defense is off the field, if not for this.
Major foul, roughing the passer. Edmonton, number 92. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down for Hamilton.
Jones holding the challenge flag. Curtis is adamant that he didn't do anything wrong. Let's find out.
Well, let's take a look. Go ahead and run it. We'll see where he comes from as this play sort of develops. This is Schultz throws it away, and the hit and the timing of the hit looked fine, except for, let's see on the follow through, because we've seen if
Jones has challenged it.
the play's been called roughing the passer, so you're going to have to see clear and obvious evidence to overturn it. And I saw it live, and I think it was the follow through and almost sort of trying to jam or pile,
like put his weight on him.
Yeah, pile drive Schultz into the ground.
Edmonton is challenging the ruling on the last play. They believe there should not have been roughing the passer. The play will be reviewed.
So Curtis gets his wish, and his coach throws the challenge flag. Here's another wider look at it.
Take a look. There he is right in the middle of your screen, and the timing of that hit is fine. There's your quarterback back there in Matt Schultz. He just gets
certainly not high or anything. Like, kind of wraps him up and takes him down, right?
Yeah, I think it was just because of how late the flag came out as well.
Yeah. All right, let's find out. They have their ruling. We'll send it down to the field.
Upon further review, the ruling on the field stands. Edmonton loses their challenge, and they lose one team timeout. It's first down for Hamilton.
Well, the problem that Chris Jones and Noah Curtis have with this particular play is that all the shots didn't have enough evidence. I mean, whether it was called one or not called one and challenged by the other side, challenged by Steinauer, I don't think either would have been overturned. There wasn't enough clear and obvious evidence.
Schultz works from the Edmonton 46. He'll hand it off to Butler. Butler finally taken down after 7 yards, running hard and requiring 2 Elks to eventually stop him. Butler's at 94 rushing yards now in this game.
Yeah, that'll be his first 100-yard game. Keeps at it and stays healthy tonight. Shouldn't be surprising, really. Edmonton's given up 150 yards a game along the ground.
2nd and 3. They'll hand it off again. And what an effort by Butler. This guy is picking up some difficult yards on the ground. That'll put him over 100 in the game, or almost right at 100 in the game.
You know, sometimes players will say we don't listen to the noise, but they sometimes hear it. And maybe Butler's just had enough of people saying, you know, what happened to James Butler? Where's James Butler? Why is James Butler not the James Butler we saw last year? Tommy Condell's given him a lot of chances and a lot of touches tonight.
Edmonton's defense trying to get off the field. There it is, 11 carries, 101 yards, a couple of big ones in there, and a touchdown. Near side, McAllister had to go down to a knee and still was not able to haul that in, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 10.
That was a similar play to his play against Ottawa. Try to get the bubble screen, get him with all that speed out there. And boy, in that Ottawa play, they got big blocks off the edge from Duke Williams and Tim White and all those guys chipping in. And then he accelerated. If you saw the pregame show, I highlighted that play, and he accelerated to 36 kilometers an hour.
A little bit faster than me. I can't even go that fast on a bike. Here's Schultz. Gets it back to Butler. Butler turns it upfield. And he gets a good chunk, but it won't be enough for a first down.
A real makeable field goal range. On the road, want to, you know, finish with points.
A field goal here puts you up 14.
Yeah, exactly. So you get the 2 scores, but your next field goal makes it a 3-possession game. So
Leggio, 10 for 10 since landing in Hamilton. A nice soft landing for Leggio after being released by the Bombers. A 36-yarder just inside the left hash to extend the Hamilton lead. And he once again tucks it inside that left upright. Steinauer's Ticats comfortably on top with 3.5 to play in the 3rd. They will raise a lot of money for an absolutely wonderful cause. 1st and 10. Cornelius has a short completion. French hauls it in, but a pickup of only about 2 yards.
Well, I'm sure there's many that, you know, sort of after the Cornelius play debate whether or not that maybe Chris Jones should have made a change. And just because of his mental state. Where was he going to be mentally? But he came out and he threw that one in there to Dunbar in a tight window. Excuse me, to Kyron Moore in a tight window.
2nd and 8 here. Pressure. Cornelius trying to get away. There's a flag. Cornelius finally gets it to Brown, who breaks 1 tackle, and the second from Ted Laurent will throw him out of bounds, but this will be a hold against Edmonton.
But you know, to continue the thought, Chris Jones has gone through that. You know, he did that. He tried that. You know, early on, Cornelius started the first few games of the season. Then when they went over to Ottawa, he started Jarrett Daggy. And, you know, Jarrett showed some signs, but real young in his first start.
Major foul, face mask, Edmonton, number 62. Will go back 15 yards from the end of the play, and it's going to be third down.
So it's a face mask on Martez Ivy, and now back them up even further.
Yeah, that one you got to call because it's a player safety issue as well.
So Julian stands on his own 10. A high kick. McAllister takes it at the 45. McAllister to the 50 on the return. And no further. Like a 15 yards, no yards flag sitting just inside the 50.
Which puts him in plus territory.
No yards, Edmonton, number 10. It's a 15-yard penalty. It's going to be first down for Hamilton.
Coverage of the FIFA Women's World Cup begins next Thursday with Canada's tournament debut against Nigeria. History awaits as stars Sinclair, Buchanan, and Fleming take to the pitch looking for victory. Tune in at 10:15 Eastern, 7:15 Pacific. TSN and CTV are your home for exclusive coverage all tournament long. Should be an excellent event. Excellent field position here for Schiltz with a 14-point lead. Has Godwin at the 30. Godwin trying to be tracked down from behind by the Elks, but what a pickup there, and he has been heavily involved in the offense. Schiltz is down again, and this time he appears to be in significant pain. Taylor Powell warming up on the sideline.
I think it was Pelly that made the hit. Number 96. No penalty flag, and I think it was a clean hit. Here he comes. It was his knee, or he grabbed his hamstring,
grabbed his leg right away. Ajumbong in his Elks debut after being acquired in a trade.
It was 95,
didn't seem anything overly vicious on it.
No,
and he reached for his leg, even if the weight would have been on the upper body. But yeah, Coach Orlando Steinauer out now as well, as this appears to be a rather significant injury to the lower body of Matt Schiltz.
Taylor Powell will warm up in that number 2 spot, and number 3 is Kai Loxley. Just saying.
Kai Loxley finishing off a Tiger Cats win at Edmonton. Last time we saw him here, he was pacing the sidelines and wouldn't move. Powell spent his college football time with a few different FBS teams, last playing 9 games with Eastern Michigan, completing 174 passes on 269 attempts for 2,111 yards and 16 touchdowns. And now Schiltz is at least sitting as they continue to work on his legs. Well, when you saw him in the pain that he was in initially, certainly did not look good, and everybody taking a knee around him, but he's actually up, and now he will be helped off the field.
A perennial all-star and now 6th offensive lineman Chris Van Zyl will help him off. So being a great teammate, and that's nice luxury to have for Orlando Steinauer, to have Chris Van Zyl as your 6th O-lineman. Let's take another look, because you know it just, other than the weight of a D lineman on your, just, I guess his left leg, his knee hit the ground and his left leg kind of turned.
Yeah,
and
he
it was
started
almost like his hip. Yeah, his hip got twisted when he went down with the weight of the D lineman on top of him.
Bo Levi Mitchell already banged up, unavailable. Schultz now leaving the game. Taylor Powell makes his first CFL appearance, and he hands it off to Butler. Not a bad guy to work with, especially with the way he's running the ball tonight, and a nice pickup on first down for Butler.
Yeah, so Matt Schultz has started a few games in a row now, so the number 2 and Powell getting some reps it's not, you know, you don't have to drastically change. It's not like he just arrived a week ago. You have to drastically change your play calling. Obviously, you'll pare it down and keep it simple for him.
We'll see how Edmonton's defense approaches this change at quarterback. Powell, first pass coming, looking towards the end zone to White, and he's got it! Welcome to the Canadian Football League, Taylor Powell, as he drops one in a bucket for Tim White. 17-yard strike.
Wide side corner, too. How about that? Sometimes when you're young, you just don't know any better. Just go out there and sling it. I mean, he had some pressure too. Chris Jones went after him, sent Purefoy, got some pressure, tried to push the pocket, collapse the pocket, and Taylor Powell stands in there, throws a corner with great accuracy, and drops it in for the Hamilton TD.
His first CFL pass is a touchdown. That's got to be a pretty elite group. Leggio puts it home, and the Ticats have blown this thing completely wide open. 34-13. They lead here on a Thursday night football affair at Commonwealth.
I'll tell you what, that's a great throw. To be that young and thrown in this game with pressure on you and the blitz down in the, I'm not sure they were right in the green zone, to put the accuracy on that throw and give Tim White a chance to react to the ball, and 1 for 1 with a touchdown, 17-yarder for Taylor Powell. Oh, it was the red zone.
Yeah, it was. I like to say you can't dream of a better start, but really you can't dream of a better start outside of the circumstances in which he was forced into this ball game, but he came in and handled it. Now this will be kicked to CJ Sims. Sims to the 30. Sims turning it upfield just shy of the 40, where he's popped and stopped. And that is where Daggy will get the ball for the Elks. Cornelius taken out of the game. Jarrett Daggy takes over. 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions in his brief time at the helm this season.
Yeah, coming into this game, had thrown 1 more touchdown pass than Taylor Cornelius had in just that limited action in the 1 start against Ottawa. He went 19 of 33 in that game and 223 passing, but the 3 interceptions were the issue. 1 more touchdown, but also 1 more interception that Taylor Cornelius had thrown. So
a little bit of a gunslinger from what we've seen so far, but in this situation, down 34-13, what a weird quarter. See Sims talking with Jones there, getting an earful from his head coach. But an interesting quarter for Cornelius, as it starts with a touchdown to Kyron Moore and ends with him watching from the sideline as Daggy once again takes over at quarterback for the Elks, who continue to search for answers at home. Answers they simply have not been able to find. 34-13. The Ticats completely changed. 24 points for the Ticats in the third quarter, Glenn. That's quite a surge.
Yeah, the wrong records are about to fall for the Edmonton Elks. And, you know, this game, you've heard many, many times coaches say that this game always comes down to 3, 4, maybe 5 plays. And it's not just at the end of games. It can happen in the first quarter, that a key moment. And those 3 plays tonight so far went in Hamilton's favor. They earned it. I'm not saying it was, you know, they had to be there. They had to be in the right place. They had to be hustling to the ball and all those things. But they went against Edmonton once again. And you don't win those 3 or 4 plays, you don't win games. Now what?
Great question. I'd like to welcome our viewers joining us from TSN 3. Edmonton trailing Hamilton 34-13. Hamilton looking to make it 2 in a row. Edmonton on the verge of falling to 0-6. Daggy to Mitchell, who gets hammered but hangs on to the ball even with the heavy pop courtesy of Woods. First down, Edmonton.
A little bit high, so Mitchell had to go up and get it. Good for him to have the courage to do so. And he does feel a heavy hit.
First and 10 from the Edmonton 52 for Daggy. Gets this one away, and it is almost intercepted. Kenneth George was thinking he had his first CFL interception, but he couldn't hang on.
That's almost intercepted by 3 Ticats. I mean, they were fighting and racing for this one, and this is Jared Daggy that are, you know, basically telegraphing it. Look at the white jerseys flying around trying to get a stat, including Simone Lawrence.
They wanted it. George had the best crack at it, and maybe some friendly fire from Javian Elliott. The only thing that stopped him. Here's Daggy, far side of the field this time, and that is held on to by Vincent Forbes-Montbleau, and that should be enough for an Edmonton first down.
You know, when you take a look at Jared Daggy, and he's so young and he's earned the second job. So, you know, when I look at this throw, I think, okay, this is why they believe that he could be a guy that steps in and maybe can win a game for them and become the guy. But, you know, they've also got Trey Ford on the sideline. And Trey Ford won a game last year against these Hamilton Tiger Cats on the road.
First and 10 for Daggy. He's going to take a deep shot down the far side of the field, and it's hauled in. Mitchell swung around and snagged it. Biggest play of the season for Dylan Mitchell.
And pass interference. Hamilton, number 3. It's going to be first down Edmonton at the spot of the foul.
And this is why he earned the second job. This is why he earned the number 2. So, you know, there's a pass interference on the jersey, and Mitchell, who's had himself a much better game tonight than the start of the season. He's contributed with some big catches. That's the biggest.
First and 10 from the Hamilton 13 for Daggy, trying to provide some sort of spark to this Edmonton offense. Ticats bringing some heat. Daggy, far side, held onto by Dunbar. And he stops just shy of the end zone. It could be another first down here for Edmonton. And now some pushing and shoving around the 10.
You know, when Daggy came on in relief of Taylor Cornelius, not the start in Ottawa, but in relief, I think he went like 12 of 14 or something like that. I mean, he threw for just over 100 yards and played very well. And it was against the Toronto Argonauts.
Daggy's 4 of 5 for 62 yards. First and goal from the Hamilton 2 for Edmonton. Brown stands into the left of Daggy. Daggy will be throwing here, looking for Dunbar. Goes up, can't haul it in. Was working there against Javian Elliott again, and Elliott gets the win.
It's a straight fade route. That close, nice play. Elliott's had himself a game.
He definitely has. We've mentioned his name a number of times and had the interception in the red zone as well. They'll try it again. 2nd and goal here for Edmonton. Need just a couple of yards to finish the job. Daggy takes it, hands it off to Brown, trying to push ahead, gets some help, and he's there. Touchdown, Edmonton! First rushing touchdown of the season for Kevin Brown as they tried to hang on to a glimmer of hope.
Well, you got to enjoy it. I mean, you got to enjoy these moments so that you want more. And there becomes more of a sense of urgency, and there's good push right at the end of it to cross the line and finish. And Jared Daggy puts together a drive.
8 plays, 70 yards. I think he said they're not done.
That's, yeah, emphatically.
Well, and they're not. There's 11 and a half minutes. Oh, boy. Faithful yanks that wide left. I was going to say there's 11 and a half minutes, and they're down just 14. They're down 15. Kevin Brown, though, a bright spot since he arrived in the green and gold. Ain't over yet. Well, that's what he told us.
Yeah, he told us it isn't over, and it isn't. There is plenty of time, and they're down 2 possessions.
8 plays, 70-yard drive, 3.5 minutes with Daggy. And now this will be taken and brought back just shy of the 40. The offense will trot onto the field without Matt Schultz. For an update on that, let's send it down to Ryan Rashog.
Dustin Schultz remains in the medical tent. There's been a steady stream of offensive linemen and various teammates going in and closing the door behind them for a short visit. We're told he's done for the night. It's a lower body injury, but as I said, remains in the medical tent. Players are going to visit. And so with Bo Levi Mitchell in a headset on the sidelines and Schultz in the tent, a different look at quarterback here for the Ticats.
Well, worked out well for Powell. His first pass attempted ended up going for a touchdown. Now they'll bring McAllister in next to him, and they'll give it to McAllister. McAllister about 5 yards with a nice initial burst before the Elks could wrap him up.
McAllister with James Butler. So,
both of them right there.
Yeah. Right. Both in the backfield, and with a young quarterback, and get the running game going and just grind it down now with a 2-possession lead is I'm sure the game plan for Tommy Condell. Now he's going to have to throw it at times. That doesn't mean run every play, but high percentage throws and get a ton of Butler or McAllister.
Butler already over 100 yards in this ball game. 2nd and 5 from the Hamilton 45. Powell out to Butler, who's open, and he's got it. Butler to midfield, down inside the 50, makes a move to stay on his feet, and eventually it's Bratton who's there to push him out of bounds at the Edmonton 35.
If this looks familiar, it should, because when James Butler was in Vancouver last year with Nathan Rourke used this type of play all the time. I mean, watch him come out of the backfield, and this isn't a check down where you look downfield and you wait and you go through 2 or 3 reads.
That's the play.
This is the play. The play is to get it to his hands in the first couple of steps.
And they get it to his hands again, and look at him go. Butler putting on a clinic all the way down to the 15. He torched Edmonton at the beginning of last season in BC, that first game. Remember, he was sensational. He's putting together an excellent night here.
Inside handoff, nice block down. Good push by Beard. David Beard had his guy about 10 yards down the field.
All I can think about is I hope I'm not playing against Butler in fantasy this week, because that's a big night on a Thursday. Look at this, 16, 126, 40 receiving yards and a touchdown. On the sideline now, McAllister will handle the running back duties. 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 15. And they'll give it to McAllister. He'll take it towards the 10, eventually gets there. Good second effort before Purifoy puts him down.
Niles Morgan is maybe the best tackler for the Edmonton Elks. He's right here, and he is going to watch. He's going to fill the hole nicely like he's done so many times this year and miss. That's how good Tyreek McAllister is. That's their best tackler.
Tough guy to make miss. 3rd trip to the red zone here for the Ticats. 3 for 3 thus far. 8.5 to play in the fourth quarter. McAllister remains in the game at running back. And before this play can happen, whistles from the officials.
Procedure, Hamilton, number 66. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still second down.
Brandon Kemp, the guilty individual. It's a big man, 6'7", 310, working that right tackle spot first time we mentioned him, so pretty solid night, I would think, so far.
Yeah, if you're a DB or an O-lineman and you're not mentioned, that's a good thing.
Congratulations. I mean, until now.
You've had a good night.
Prior to this, he's been excellent. 2nd and 10 now from the Edmonton 15. Lots of moving pieces here for Taylor Powell. Butler back in the game at running back. Clock ticking down. Barely got that play away. Now Powell trying to escape. Some pressure coming. And he just throws it away as he's taken down just outside the Edmonton 20. And that'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Yeah, good decision. Real good decision by a young guy. Don't try and force it. You've got a 15-point lead now. And a field goal gets you to 3 possessions. So now, you know, you throw that one away. Don't force a turnover and you know, try to take away any hope that Edmonton has. It's an important field goal for Leggio.
11 for 11 as a member of the Ticats. Perfect so far tonight. Perfect so far with Hamilton. And I didn't jinx him that time. He knocks it through. Some flags fly with some pushing and shoving. As the Ticats bullying the Elks tonight. Dylan Mitchell and this modern technology always blows my mind, Suits.
I'm not sure how modern it is, but it is new. Hey, big night for Mitchell in a lot of ways. I mean, he was struggling coming in. He had just 10 catches for 61 yards. And tonight he's got 3. That was a big one. I mean, like a tough catch, and he did a nice job of pulling that in. He's got 52 yards receiving, almost the same total as he had in the first 5 games.
The Elks have been backed up here 15 yards. Objectionable conduct penalty at the end of that last play by Niles Morgan. So 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 25 for Jared Daggy, who took over for Cornelius in the second half of this football game. Daggy, far side, has a completion. That's Moore. And just no room there. The ball pops out, but does go out of bounds on the far side of the field.
Nice touchdown for Kyron Moore. You know, and again, that was when, you know, I'm sure there were some Edmonton fans thinking after the mistake by Cornelius, do they pull Cornelius then? You know, maybe his mind isn't in the right place after another mistake like that. And then Cornelius came out and hit Moore for a big touchdown. So he actually flushed that play and got in. And then, you know, I just think get to a point where you got to see something different, and that's where we see Daggy.
8 yards more. They just need 2 for that first down. Brown trying to get there, and try as he might. We'll see where this ball is spotted. It was very close.
Yeah, Daggy's got to stay out of those plays. Once you hand the ball off, you see quarterbacks try and get a lead block on some wide plays at times, but Daggy almost got kind of legs cut out from underneath him.
So it is 3rd and 4 or 5 inches. And that is Cornelius, who handles the short yardage duties. He'll slide up under center to keep his team on the field. And he lunges ahead, no problem, takes care of business, and Daggy will come back out with the rest of the offense. (37-19). Hamilton on top. Daggy barking out some instructions here quickly. You know, Daggy can finish this game strong.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do, but
No.
if Daggy finishes the game strong,
I think it's a good discussion. I mean,
but his reward would be to go on the road against Winnipeg.
yeah, and you know, and here's what we hear from the coaching staff for the Elks. They will say, when we go to practice and we see in the prep and all of that stuff, Taylor Cornelius is still our best chance to win. We have to play the quarterback to give us our best chance to win. And so that will probably remain Taylor Cornelius because of just the inexperience of Jarrett Dagg. But again,
Here's Daggy near side. Oh, almost picked off. Mitchell was waiting for it.
and he's had a couple of those, Dustin. So again, like I don't know. I remember going back to last year, and we saw Trey Ford get a couple of games. Now he lost a couple here at Edmonton, as the other quarterbacks have as well, but he did win one out in Hamilton. He's a good dual threat type of quarterback. He can run really well.
They used a first-round pick on him. And he didn't lose his job because of poor play. He got injured after the win in Hamilton.
Right.
And then Cornelius got another shot. Now it's McAllister trying to find some space, and he does. Midfield, McAllister, what a move. Get him a block, they do. Down to the 30, the 20, the 10, he's gone. See you later. Tyreek McAllister, a house call. Brilliant stuff from 35 in white.
You can't help but smile if you're Steinauer over there. Coach Steinauer going.
The Ticats are standing around like there's a flag somewhere in the field, or they're in shock of what just happened. Did he step out of bounds, maybe? None of the Ticats are celebrating.
Holding Hamilton, number 82. It's a 10-yard penalty. It's going to be first down for Hamilton.
I did not see a flag on the field at the end of the play. I looked back. I don't know if they'd already picked it up, but McAllister's brilliant display of return ability wiped off the board. Boy, this guy is a walking highlight reel. 79-yard return is what it would have been. And our crew is looking for the penalty right now. We're going to step away with just over 4 minutes remaining. A big one from McAllister, wiped off the board.
You know, I know a lot of football fans, and I'll put myself on this list, get frustrated with penalties on big returns like this and blame the officials for it, but this is holding, folks. I mean, this is unnecessary. It's Anthony Frederico, and it's unnecessary to hold the guy. Now it's 40, 50 yards away from where the ball was caught, but that's right in the plain view of the official, and it's unnecessary. That's a player that needs to be coached up.
Powell will hand this off to Butler, and Butler a short pickup on first down.
But, you know, again, the coach has got to coach up the players to stop tackling guys when you got returners like this. Now, just for fun, let's watch the work by McAllister. Sidestep, 79, balance, speed, and acceleration through the cut. I mean, this guy is a star, and this is going to be fun to watch 35 all year. So if you're on the kick return team, like Frederico, do not tackle a guy at the line of scrimmage. Come on.
Here's Powell, steps up in the pocket, put it towards the hands of Sindani, but they came out the other side. 3-minute warning just around the corner, and the Ticats will be set to kick this away.
You know, I'm going to go a step further on this, because here's the thing. You know, I've been on kick returns, and you want to win that battle, and it can get physical, and you sometimes want to grab, but that is a conscious decision to go that long, flat out holding a guy when you have a dynamite returner with great speed that'll probably make him miss anyway.
when you have a guy with that ability, right?
Yeah, let's put it this way. It's a selfish penalty to take.
Kick that'll bounce at the 21. Sims goes to get it. Flag on the return. Also a flag out by the kicker, actually, and he was down. We'll sort this out as we are now inside 3 minutes. The Elks losing at home again. 70 days since the last home win. You have to go back to 2019, and they've been doubled up almost in the scoring department as well. They've had some close ones along the way, but for the most part, it's been domination by the visitors here at Commonwealth. We're resetting this kick. There was offsetting penalties. They moved it back 5 yards, and now the kick is at least away clean. Sims takes it at the 11. CJ Sims right up the middle, nowhere to go, just beyond the 20 and no further.
So who do you start? Here's what happens for Edmonton after this one. They go to Winnipeg, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And then they are at home against the BC Lions, and
then Winnipeg again.
When you're a coach with these quarterbacks every single day, you know who's earned what spots. And Trey Ford right now is in the 3rd spot. However, I mean, I don't know. What do you have to lose
to give him a look? Here's Daggy. That one goes up. Dunbar couldn't hang on. Lawrence kind of grabbed him by the head and took him down.
And I'm not giving up on Jared Daggy, who's a little banged up after that one.
It's just a matter of, in this league, you have to find a quarterback.
Well, yeah, and you've got one that has a dual threat guy that won a game for you last year. I mean, there's a good vibe there. He won a game for you. I mean, he went into Hamilton and played very well and won that game. He can take off and run. You can run a lot of different option type running offense.
Daggy over the middle. Dunbar is there, and he hauls it in for a first down. Considering the problems they've had in the quarterback position, it's a little surprising to me that we haven't seen him at all this year.
Yeah.
Like not even a snap here or there.
Yeah, exactly. And work him into maybe a package. So you let Cornelius or Jared Daggy, if that's your guy, you let him watch for a series on the sidelines. You know, sometimes that takes a quarterback out of his rhythm, but these quarterbacks don't have a rhythm yet. So
Daggy, tight window, but he's able to connect with Kyron Moore as Edmonton moves the ball late here.
Let's go back and take a look at that game. I mean, he's playing against Hamilton on the road. This is him running the football, and I'm obviously a little bit biased towards his nationality and would love to see him get an opportunity. But listen, this team desperately needs a win. This was talked about today or tonight as a must-win game in July. I mean, the true must-win games are the only games that you play that if you lose them, you're done, you go home. That's the true must-win. But when you're talking and using the vernacular must-win in July, I think you got to get outside the box, and maybe Trey Ford is an outside the box thinking, but I'm not giving up on Daggy either, but I don't know. Got to do something.
Well, Daggy's had his start.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't go well.
Yep.
Cornelius has had a bunch of them that didn't go well. Maybe Trey Ford's able to work some magic. Here's Daggy. Good throw on the run. Finds Forbes Montbleau, who tries to stretch ahead for a first down. Might be just shy of it.
And Daggy's made some good throws tonight already.
Yeah.
Like that last one when he threaded the needle there, that was a good throw. So was that one. So, you know, again, you got some guys to build around, but he's young. We saw him start in Ottawa. Okay, I'll let it go.
Daggy, 25 years old.
They're trying to find the next one. The next one of those guys.
Gord Miller? Ricky Ray, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Near side. Oh, boy. Heavy hit. And Maurice French held on to this. That's a nice catch from French, who's shown some flashes in his brief time in Edmonton.
Yeah, and French has had to work or wait the rest of this second half to get another chance to make a catch, because he dropped a key one in a key moment in the first half, and that was right down at the goal line. Turned into 3 instead of 7. And, you know, you want a chance to make up for those mistakes. And he had to wait this whole second half for that chance right there, and he made the best of it.
17 yards for French. And with the clock ticking down towards 60 seconds here, Daggy looking for a major towards the end zone in the corner. Incomplete. French with Leonard in coverage. No chance at it.
Hamilton now go back-to-back wins. You know, and they'll say, well, okay, you beat Ottawa, and now you've beat Edmonton.
Yeah.
Team that was 0-5. However, and we'll see what the health status of Matt Schultz is as the week goes on. But
and Bo.
Yeah, and Bo Levi Mitchell, and how close they are to coming back. But this is now you get on a bit of a roll. Now the next one up for Hamilton is against Toronto at home. And that rivalry getting heated up, and one of arguably in some across the country have put Toronto ahead of Winnipeg in their rankings.
They look good.
They look real good.
There's 3 teams I think you probably put at the top of that list that you can make a case for. Toronto, Winnipeg, and BC have all had phenomenal starts to the season. Ticats opened last year 1-4, and they look like they will avoid a repeat of that here tonight. Here's Daggy. Pressure from the Ticats. Daggy towards Dunbar, and he's got it! Touchdown Dunbar late. His first as a member of the Elks comes against his former club.
And can I say this? The right reaction by Dunbar after it. You know, I've seen a couple of guys from Edmonton make a catch and really celebrate when they're down by 3 scores. You know, and that's the right reaction.
Back to work.
You made a play, but we've lost another game, and that doesn't feel good. So we got to fix that.
Touchdown drive led by Daggy late in a game. Faithful puts one through, and it is an 11-point game with 57 seconds on the board. The Elks sitting at 19. They will go to 20 tonight, tying the St. Louis Browns 1953. Let's go to that team who lost 20 home games in a row as well.
Wow.
We're turning the clock back a little bit here, Suits. They probably didn't even have a telestrator. And then they moved them.
Yeah.
They became the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, that's some old footage. That's going back. You know, and I guarantee you the players feel sick about it. It just, if you're going to watch SportsCenter later tonight, and I know that you will, we'll have a recap for you, and there'll be 3 plays that turn this game, because there always is. There's 3 or 4 plays in every game that determine the outcome, and they can be earlier in the middle of the game, but there were 3, and we'll get into it.
And in a series of losses like this team has had at home, they're usually on the wrong side of those 3 plays.
Exactly. And, you know, you can overcome one if you have the right mindset. But if you let it spiral, one turns into 2, and then you got problems.
Short kick, and Edmonton tries to hop on it at the 50, and they do. Super late flag. Scott Hutter, who's on the ball. Seems like the reaction from Edmonton here, though, is that they're not happy with whatever the ruling is on the field.
Well, the first question is, did it go 10 yards? The onside kick.
It went 10 yards.
Well, that's... Then the next one is, did anyone interfere with someone trying to recover the ball? In other words, you can't run over a guy that's settled under the ball. What you have to do on the onside kick team is try and recover it, and if you collide in an attempt to recover the ball with the guy, that's fine.
Mike Shepard, special teams coach. Interesting week for him after the way the game in Regina ended.
Yeah.
Eight plays, 88 yards on that last touchdown drive for Edmonton. And we believe that Niles Morgan is the man that these officials are discussing right now. Took an objectionable conduct penalty earlier in the quarter.
Well, if he gets a second, he's done. The game's done anyway. But yeah, looked at the replay. It was a good onside kick.
There are 2 penalties on the last play. They're both against Edmonton, number 45. The first one, a 15-yard misconduct penalty. The second one is a rough play disqualification. We're going to go back to the 15-yard line. It's Edmonton ball, and Edmonton 45 is disqualified from the remainder of the game.
As one of your leaders on the defensive side of the ball, maybe wanting to see some more composure. Let's get a look at this.
Well, you see him right in the middle of your screen. So what does he do? He gets up and
Chris Jones saying use your head. And an early trip to the room for Morgan, who's a big piece of the team's future, but frustrated tonight. It's a fine line between,
I understand.
I mean, you're frustrated because you're losing, but at the same time.
And they weren't winning. They weren't winning this game with that onside kick either. So, you know, I don't condone it.
179 penalty yards tonight for Edmonton, though. Daggy, Dunbar can't hang on to it. He's popped on this one. And a little slow to get up. Look like he took a shot right in the back. Dunbar, one of the big pieces they brought in to solidify the offense and help take Cornelius to the next level. Kyron Moore as well. They re-signed Mitchell for 2 seasons, and then Gino Lewis was the big one. And he is on the 6th game and unavailable. The plan has not gone as originally they thought it would with the offense. 2nd and 10 here for Daggy. Hit as he throws. And a flag, might have been a helmet on helmet to the quarterback at Daggy. Sounded pretty vicious. Well, I think I've asked you this a number of times doing these Edmonton games, Glenn, but I don't know what happens this week.
Wow, what a spin.
Nice move.
Full speed, spin move.
Carney's got 3 sacks on the season coming into the game tonight.
Roughing the passer, Hamilton, number 5. We're going to go up 15 yards from the other play. It's going to be 1st down for Edmonton.
27-year-old out of UNC.
Is a high hit. Hit him in the head.
Nice move, though.
Yeah, it really was.
Put him in the spin cycle there. Daggy from his own 38. Dumps it off to Brown. Brown, nice job to pick up a 1st down for Edmonton here late.
Well, Hamilton's, we'll see what the health of their quarterbacks are in that situation.
Yeah.
But here's some real good news. Again, playmakers, they found another one in Tyreek McAllister. So that's one thing.
Back-to-back big games, yeah.
But they also got James Butler going. You get James Butler going tonight, and you can play both of them at the same time in the backfield. That bodes well for this offense.
Daggy up high, turning around and snagging it was French. He's feeling it a little bit after hauling that one in. He's made some pretty impressive catches tonight.
Well, here's what happens and what coaching staffs do with teams like Edmonton right now. They're looking for anyone who quits. So, you know, if you're one of those guys that say, "Oh, we're losing again, so I'm going to stop trying," then you don't stay around pro football very long.
So you learn something about your team in these situations.
Yeah, you just have to keep watching, and they'll look at every player and say, which guy, is there any guy that just quit on it? Or do they all keep working even though the scoreboard looks the way it looks? And you could say that a couple of catches by French. Now he's going to be pulled off because of the medical spotter.
Yeah, when he turned that ball upfield, his head did have a little bit of contact, and he hesitated ever so slightly before he got up. So they'll take him out for a look.
Timer, please reset the game clock to 33 seconds, please. 33 seconds.
Chris Jones, like many Elks fans watching on right now, continuing to try to figure out what a recipe for success is at home. Here's Daggy. He's going to look for a big chunk on the far side of the field. Woods working there against Mitchell, and it falls incomplete. Brings up second down with 20 seconds on the clock.
I like the secondary for Hamilton. They played well tonight. Javian Elliott has made some nice plays. He has an interception, got on the board in that regard, and seen a couple of hits from Lawrence Woods. Woods, a guy that was a returner initially in the Canadian Football League, is taking over that corner spot for this game.
Faithful out for a 45-yarder. And he strikes it well, puts it home, and the lead is 8. We talk about some of those big plays in a game, and oh, Glenn, here they are.
Yeah, three big plays. This one where French drops it. That could have been 10-0, turned into 6-0. Then Dunbar, throw behind him. That could have been 7-0 or at least 13-7, and that was the third one. That was the miscue where Hamilton scored 14 points in about a minute and a half. Because they had just scored. Taylor Cornelius tried to do too much, and that's where they lost it. That's basically those 3 plays where this game was won and lost.
How much can you read into Daggy's fourth quarter, considering the Ticats would have been playing
completely different?
Yeah, exactly.
What you have to do to judge Jarrett Daggy so far with just a really small sample size is look at the Ottawa start. How did he do there? And that's
Elks looking for the ball again. And it looked like it was held onto by the Ticats in spectacular fashion, actually. A nice job to hang on with some traffic in the face, and that will seal it away. Week 6 continues tomorrow night. Montreal taking on Toronto. Kind of a quick week for Montreal, playing in Vancouver on Sunday and traveling all the way back out east to take on the Argos.
Yeah, they gotta like it's not just protection, it's play calling, and it's Cody Fajardo too. But you know, when you get sacked as much as he is and getting that pressure. What was that stat we talked about early in the league? It was over 90 possessions where there was a sack and only 1 touchdown in that time.
Misconduct foul, 10 yards against Hamilton, 32. First down for a Hamilton.
Most of the sacks come on second down because of passing down. So on second down, you get that sack. Now you're 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 20, and really tough to convert with the speed of the defenses in Canadian football right now. So that's what Montreal's got to shore up. They got to shore up their protections, whether it be through play calling, different types of plays, Cody stepping up and climbing in the pocket.
Maybe try to get Stanback going as well.
Get Stanback going, and the O-line, you know, taking it up a notch.
All smiles for Orlando Steinauer as his team puts up 37 points. As Powell into the game for an injured Schultz will take a victory knee. And the Edmonton Elks have once again lost at home. Chris Jones continuing to look for answers. Steinauer's team has now won 2 in a row.